Okay, let's get started. All right, welcome everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. I hope you enjoyed the new opening. Finally updated it for YouTube. So that's where we're at. That's what we got. Brand new. And let's get started. Kicking get starting kicking in the 2023 changes a couple weeks early. But yeah, so welcome to the stream. I'm Eric. I'm your photographer, editor, and all around random nature person. And we are going to be doing some editing of more nature photography. Obviously, we're going to be in Dutch Gap Park, which is kind of a park, kind of just to the southeast of Richmond. Um, it's a small park. It's kind of just I think it's only got about 5 or 6 miles total of trails, but it's got a really interesting history and a bunch of really interesting little spots to it. This was my first time there, so I get to share some of that. Um, yeah, so that is what we're going to be doing tonight, and just kind of going through some of the photos from that. Um, yeah, as always, the reason I do this is because photo editing and post production is so hugely important to modern photography, but it's all so often not discussed or hidden behind paywalls, or it's always counted as one of like the secrets of the industry, and I like to try to pull the curtain back on that to bring it to the forefront because it's important and just to highlight some of the things you can do with it uh, as you pursue telling your story through photography. So that's what why I do it. It's what we're going to be doing. If you, as you're watching, have comments, thoughts, questions, want to jump in and give feedback, want to share your own work in the chat, by all means, please. Let this be as much of an open forum as we can make it. So, with actually, you know what? One sec. I've got an announcement to make, and I'll be right back. I wanna get the visual aid. Hang on a sec. Okay, real quick, we're back. Sorry, meant to get these ready for stream and then forgot to because I got caught up in uh posting and social media and all that stuff. Um, so for the first time ever, I actually like you could always have gone on my website and bought prints of my work, but for the first time I have actual merch sort of, and they're postcards. Like we made postcards. I made postcards. Um, of my work. I don't know if I can get this to a point where you can see it without it being blown out, but sorry, this is the good camera. That's the camera. Um, Hello Shelby Lynn. But yeah, so the postcards came in. I love them. There are so there's 4 different designs. I'm gonna hold these up, not that you can really see them, but you've got Dream Lake, which is Rocky Mountain National Park. You got Natural Bridge, which is Virginia. You got Antelope Canyon on the Navajo Nation in Arizona, and you've got Marjorie Glacier in Glacier Bay National Park in Alaska. So there's 4 different designs of the cards, which is super cool. And then on the back of them, obviously it's a postcard. The backs are all the same, by the way. It's a postcard, so you can put your stamp on it and write. This is gonna be completely blown out, and I'm just gonna have to talk you through it. Thank you, Shelby Lynn. It felt like the right day for this. Um, but anyway, yeah. So this is yeah. So they are yeah. So it's a normal postcard. You can put a stamp, write an address, send a message. But the other cool thing is there's a QR code on it, right down there on the bottom. And if whoever you send this to, they can scan the QR code and they can put in takes them to a form where they can put in uh their zip code and their name and which card they got, and then that adds it to a map. So eventually we're gonna get a huge map together of uh all the different spots these cards have traveled, and like if you send stuff to people, they can add their spot to the map and kind of, yeah, I don't know. It's super cool. It's cool to be able to just to share. This is the first time I'm announcing it. These just came in today. I've just been posting about it, so it's super cool to be able to put these out there. They're on my website, which if you do Twisted in Nature .zenfoliosite.com. Uh, you can find that. If you go on my Insta, which is at Twisted in Nature, you will the link is in my bio. And then if you go to my Etsy store, which is also Twisted in Nature, there the post is there. So yeah, so grab some postcards. They're super cool. I love the chance to use my photography as a way of helping people connect and a way of making it a thing. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens with the map. Like honestly, that's the thing that excites me the most. Okay, all that said, energy up, giddiness achieved. Let's jump into Lightroom. So yeah, so Dutch Gap. This is yeah. Um, it was interesting. I didn't take a ton of different setups. This is kind of I think I took 150 photos, and these have been sorted them down to the best 75 or 78. Uh, yeah, 75. And then and like of those, there's only like 6 or 7 different setups. So this was my first time. I was kind of exploring. I was trying to kind of do the hike, not pull the camera out only when I really felt compelled to. So, yeah, we're just gonna play with some of these and see what we get. The first one I'm actually really curious about because as I was walking up, there was like I'm coming in right around the time the moon is setting, and this park kind of like way to imagine it. Okay, imagine a lake. Like imagine kind of a circular lake, and then imagine a donut of land kind of in the middle, kind of maybe one edge touching the. So it's not an island. It's like a donut shaped peninsula. It's a big, it's a big loop. So there's like an outer lake and an inner lake, or I guess an outer channel, and then the actual lake, and it's got a whole bunch of different areas and different names. But like pretty much the whole time you are like you can see water on both sides of you, which is cool. And the outer channel has a bunch of history to it in terms of like this was a spot where the Confederates and the Union Army clashed because it was a Union battery station like set up there. Uh, and there's actually a section on the inner lake that is called the graveyard, which apparently has a whole bunch of sunken and derelict ships there. And I saw one of them. Apparently, the more into the winter you go, the lower the water level is, and the more gets revealed. So there may be a sequel to this stream and this shoot. But anyway, um, as you're walking to the to kind of get onto that donut, onto that loop, you're kind of walking kind of right along one of Dominion Energy's like plants, and so there's this long chain link fence there that was just had the moon setting right through it, and you can sort of get the pattern in here. This photo, yeah, there you go. There's the fence, and so I thought it'd be really cool to see if I can get a shot where the moon and the fence are kind of in connection to each other. So yeah, and I didn't want to part of it was like it's like I hadn't normally I'm pretty decent at choosing the photos ahead of time. In this case I wasn't because I wanted to see if I okay, so the moon looks like it's in pretty decent focus. There's a bit of noise, that's expected. Um but yeah, I wanted to see if I could get a shot. That's actually interesting. It being out of focus, I'm not getting the darker stuff that was actually there. I'm getting the light stuff where there's like with the lights kind of glancing off it. I love this. This is actually really cool. Um, but yeah, I want to see if I get a shot where I got the connection between the moon and the fence. Uh, ooh, there we go. Really dehazy. Really bring out everything. I'm not sure I want to do too much of that. Maybe a little bit because it does bring out the texture of the moon there. Okay, let's start off again by cropping this because this is. Let's start with a 1:1. Actually, let's take that. Let's start with an 8:10, like a 4:5 kind of thing. Uh, let's switch that so it's that kind of framing. This we're gonna zoom in here. I want this to be. I was kind of racing against the clock because as I started shooting this, I started noticing. Wait a minute, the moon is like it's if you take the time to actually sit for a few minutes and watch the moon or the sun, obviously carefully staring at the sun, but like you can with your eyes see see the the rotation of the Earth as the moon rises, as the moon and sun rise and set. You can watch it like happen in real time. It's slow, but you can it's not so. And so I'm standing there, and I had to keep backing up and getting more and more almost off the path to uh in order to get a shot where the before the moon disappeared behind the little hill. Let's see. The black's down's a good idea, I think. Yeah, there's just this has such an imperceptible texture to it. Well, not imperceptible, but just yeah, I love it. I absolutely love the way this is coming out. Let's get that a little more centered. Cool. We're gonna have to denoise the hell out of it. Let's put a. Let's see if I tell it to remove the chromatic aberrations. Helps a bit, yeah. And then it's also funny. I was out there. Apparently this spot, and there's a couple other spots like kind of right outside the park that are like little pullouts that are great for bird photography. Bird photographers are there. Like when I read that bird photographers are there all the time, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then as I pulled in, literally like five or six of them out there with the the camo jackets and the camo wrapped lenses doing photos. I'm like, all right, literally any given day, you're gonna find that. All right. So Luminance is actually doing a good job. I think I'm gonna try doing a color fill first, and then or a color range first. Because it's mostly the stuff in the blues that I want to get. I think I can get that without touching too much of the moon. Yeah, just kind of like that. That works. And we're just gonna noise reduce. That's most of what I'm looking at here. Reduce the noise. I can, if I zoom in, let's take a look. It's coming like that. Still too much. Still not like too much noise. Too much noise is a misnomer. The photo, what matters is the photo itself. But that's actually doing better. If I take that back to what it was, yeah, it's a little bit of a problem. Let's take the texture down. Taking the texture down. No, you keep the effect. Okay, that's good. Yeah, we'll be happy with that. But yeah, the idea of too much noise is a misnomer because it's so often it's like it doesn't matter. Like most of the photos that, if you're a photographer, most of the photos that inspired you are probably noisier than the photos you're taking nowadays. Now I want to take this mask and I want to add a brush. Let's see, just bring the flow down a bit. Mostly just want to try to fill in this area here a little bit in a way that I hadn't done yet. Let's see the overlay on that. Ah, there we go. So just this area here. There we go. Fill that in a bit. Cool. Um, yeah, nice. All right, the other thing I want to do is I need to do a little bit of healing and just clean up this bottom here, and I think that'll be pretty easy to do. Um, but anyway, so yeah, so bird photographers, like tons of bird photographers out there, which is super cool, and you'll see we got some cool bird shots, partially because uh, I'd hang out in a spot with bird photographers, and they would walk up and be like, "Oh, hey, there's a thing over there if you want to take a picture of it." And I'm like, "All right, that sounds great." Uh, so got a chance to see some stuff, but I was also the funny thing. What I'm getting at here is the funny thing is I was shooting. Now I got to line that up. Ah, someone didn't think about what they were doing. There we go. That's pretty good. Cool. Yeah, I can live with that. Um, Fun thing was I'm out there with these bird photographers who all have like we're all shooting on these we all have these same huge lenses on, but they were asked that I'd be aiming it in a different direction because I'd be doing a shot of a tree or something, and they would ask me oh what's out there, what are you seeing, and I'm like guys, I'm doing landscapes. I did some bird stuff, but I'm taking pictures of landscapes as well, and they're like that's the complete wrong lens for landscapes, and that's what makes it fun. Uh, is there is no wrong uh, so there is no wrong lens for anything. It just depends on what you want to do with it. Depends on as long as you know what effect you're going for. Let's see, got a couple spots on here I want to clean up. That looks good. Okay. So that looks pretty freaking cool. I'm pretty happy with how that looks. Now what I want to do is I've got a couple different photos because I got this one where the original looks like this, and you didn't really have the fence. Then you got this one where you do have the fence. You got a couple of these, and I want to see question I had with I took a bunch of these, and the question I had was, which of them is in focus? That one's pretty good. Because I had to manually focus, because man, lenses do not like focusing through things. If you don't want to focus on the thing in the front. That one's just a bit dark, because that's when the starting to lose some light. All right, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take all three of these, and we are gonna crank the texture and the clarity. Turn that off. All right, these are all the same, so let's go ahead and let's play with settings until we get what we're looking for. Highlights aren't really doing much. Shadows are where it's gonna be. Maybe what on earth is this photo? That's better. Bring in the blacks. Dehazing. Dehazing was the way to go. Okay, put the blacks back. Maybe a little bit. I kind of like that. Okay, some texture on the moon in that one. Now we're going to take this, take these, and we're going to sync. Not the crop. There's the crop. I didn't change the crop, but yes, so synchronize. Take a look at these three and see if any of them really make that moon stick out. That one's not bad, even though it's darker than the others. This one, oh yeah, that's the one. That one's got I think has the best look. Okay, cool. So we're gonna work with this one. We are going to reset all of this, and then we're going to adjust from here. So start with step 1, profile correction, chromatic aberrations. Step 2, clarity and texture. Step 3, crop the hell out of this. Let's go back to our 4x5, 8x10 size. Come down a little bit. Yeah, I want to get that. Yeah. So there's the crop. Let's do it again. Let's move this up a bit. The weird thing being like, all right, technically the subject of this photo is the whole circle of the moon, but the only part you can see is that curve, so you kind of can't go fully centered. You kind of got to go a little bit off. All right. Dehazing is actually really what we need here. Highlights are good. We like having highlights up. Shadows down. That's good. That gives us some contrast. Whites, no, whites are mostly, they're kind of just a little too powerful. Maybe a touch, but not much. Then blacks, kind of doing the same job that dehaze is, so we'll pull that back a little bit, but dehaze does really, I prefer dehaze over blacks just a little bit, because I think it does do a really cool job of giving me the contrast and the bolder colors. Okay, that's pretty cool. Now the other thing I want to check, I'm going to come back and do some noise work on this one as well, but the other thing I want to check is there was another part of the fence. If this one comes out, it's going to be kind of cool. There's this other part of the fence that had the sun hitting it, and you can kind of see it in this photo. Yeah, so there's this section of fence that is dark, and then if you go just, if I walked a little further down, you get the section that the sun is hitting. I was like, all right, I'm curious to see what happens if I take the same picture through that. So I did, and I think it's going to be too distracting. But I've been wrong before. Especially if I can, bring it down. While keeping the moon as the subject. I'm not sure I can pull it. I'm not sure this photo pulls it off as well as the others do, but we're going to try. It is important when photo editing to have a test photo. Have one that you can practice with. There's something to that. I really can't say I dislike that. I think there's something there. All right, let's come back to this guy. And now we're just going to synchronize none of those, just the masks. Synchronize. And that will hopefully, how's that coming out? Let's see the overlay here. Come on. Overlay on that mask. Let me see. Okay. Interesting. Let's see if I can adjust this color range and extend it so we get everything else. There we go. That's better. Turn the overlay off. Definitely better. So without the mask and with it. Yeah, better. I can probably turn this brush off though. I'm not sure this brush is helping us. Yeah, mm, yeah, I think we're gonna get rid of that brush. Just stick with the color range. Cool. And let's look at this one. This one's gonna be interesting. So let's see color range. Let's see the overlay again. Yep, we're gonna extend that out so that it encompasses more. Actually, we're gonna, you know what, take it back. We're gonna leave that as is. Let's go with paste settings, and then we're gonna add another color range. Let's turn that overlay off so I can see what I'm doing. Just for crisscross parts. Just like that. There we go. Cool. I'm actually pretty happy with that. Turn the masking off. Yeah, so fun photo to test. I think I still like the first one the best. The first one's got a little bit of like it's got I don't know the texture of that. It hints at the fence without actually like copying to its existence. I like that. This one also good. It's cool to see the moon float behind the fence. I think this one is just kind of it's too distracting. I like it, but I think it's too distracting. Okay, let's do a bird. Let's go to bird photos. I'm just gonna look at this one because this is really freaking cute. This is a kingfisher. Another one of those birds that I know about because somebody walked up and told me. There she is. That's probably the best one of the three. So we're gonna, yeah, we'll edit this one. Just do a little quick little edit on our kingfisher friend here. So yeah, this is a kingfisher, female kingfisher. Um, might be. I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure this is a much bigger category than I know because I'm not an ornithologist. But I'd make an argument for in the running for like biggest gap between size of bird and size of sound because man, these things are loud. Uh, and they make the sound they make is, I mean, kind of like completely fucking adorable. But it's a very distinctive sound. There we go. Let's come in a little more. Let's make it. I'm not gonna get her to be big in the photo. I'm gonna get her to be like this, definitely be the central point. There she is. So if I tell to select subject, it might actually get her for me. So let's try that. But yeah, no, very very loud, very distinctive sound coming from this little girl, and that's actually pretty good. I can fix that with a brush. Cool. Um, and the way she, let's see, subtract with a brush. There we go. Turn the flow back up to usable. Um, which I think is, I mean, I'm not exactly sure what the why she has this. I mean, a lot the other times with the birds, uh, it's a mating thing, or it's a scare off predator kind of thing, or communicate kind of thing. But just I don't know how territorial they are, but uh, certainly, there are some birds with like you hear them and like, oh, they're nearby, they might be in that tree. This one you hear and it's like, oh, she's might be somewhere within this mile. Because let me tell you, they are very small but very loud. So you're not sure makes it easy. You know they're in the area without actually knowing specifically where they are, which knowing evolution might be by design. Okay, let's come in here. Let's subtract with a brush just to make sure I don't have anything on her. Yeah, there's some spots on her that don't need to be there. Let's clean that off. There we go. I could probably do a subtract subject. Better. There we go. Cool. Let's go back to our subtract brush. Gonna zoom in even more. There we go. Now we can get her beak cleaned off. Yeah, that works. I like the shape of her. She's got a very like it's kind of a that little plump body with a little tapers to points at either end. I think she's very very cute. All right, and we're gonna do what we can to remove details from the background, so that again we make it about her. We could darken it up, but I think leaving DHaze where it is, and just kind of working with clarity. Now I want to bring up the highlights. Let's see. This photo might be a good one for black and white. I don't know. I kind of, we'll see. There's stuff to be done with it. So they're not oversaturating. So cool. All right. Now let's get rid of this one. And let's do on this guy, let's do a duplicate and invert. Now that it's a much better defined mask. We are going to go back to the subtract brush here, and we are going to subtract the stuff. I'm going to move this up. That's better. Cool. So now with her, I can up her texture, I can up her clarity a little bit. Don't up the clarity too much. She stands out pretty nicely. Up the highlights to brighten her up. Her shadows a little bit because I do like. Is she actually black or she? Looks like it. Yeah, looks like mostly black with little bits of a uh, bluish brownish in there. I don't know. Hard to say. I'm also shooting through. Like there's a branch out of focus in the foreground, so some of this might be coming is probably coming from that. From what I was told by the bird photographer who was hanging out with me and pointed her out, uh, yeah, we know she's a female because of this white band around her neck. I believe that is the way to distinguish a kingfisher. Oh, and there's another interesting thing. If I brighten this up, not that I'm not going to keep it this way, but like, there's her eye. Her eye is back there. The white dot there is a false one, uh, designed to, make her seem, make predators aim in the wrong spot, which is, I love evolution. Evolution's great. The absolutely bizarre arms race that we have going on uh, between animals and between species. All right, so now I can adjust colors like this. By doing it in black and white, I can adjust the background. And give us an interesting kind of little world for her to inhabit. Yeah, blues are going to touch her a bit, so we'll keep them, bring them up a little bit. Aqua's not doing much, and greens, where are my greens? Really not doing much, it's mostly the yellows. Let's go with that. Let's go ahead and yeah, we could do something like that where it's nah, I like it better with a little bit of darkness to it. He says as he then goes and edits it in a completely different way to what he just said he was going to do. Because of course. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. I want to crop out this bottom here. Let's unlock this and just crop out the bottom so that we don't have that extra distraction at the bottom. Now I got to adjust this a bit so that she still gets to be the complete main focus. There we go. There we go. Look at her. She's great. Cool. So there's a kingfisher. Let's set that to 3. Oh, it's really gotta mark this one as well. 3. And this one I'm gonna mark it 2 because I like it, but it's not I don't consider it finished. I might come back and work on it more. Okay, let's talk about boats. At least this sunken boat that was out there in the graveyard. Uh, yeah, just chilling out there. One of the cool things about this place is that there's a not only is there this hike that you can go around. There's hikes that have a whole bunch of little spurs on it that you can slip in and out of. Um, but there's also I was checking a quick thing. Um, but there's also like boating routes that you can take, and there's docks all over the place that you can launch from. Um, yeah, there's boating routes that take you kind of through these areas. That's really cool. Okay, where do I want to start? I think I like this photo. That's number 41. I like that one. I like that it's kind of You kind of you feel some because of where the portholes. That's too zoomed in. Let's do this. Because where the portholes used to be on this ship, you've got that. You sort of have eyes on it. So I do kind of like that. There's a feeling of almost of it sinking, and like you're watching. I'm not saying it's sinking, but like you're watching it sink. Kind of. It's whispering its last secrets to you as it slips away, and I like that a lot. Let's see. I want to check the focus on all these. That one's the best so far. These are both good. 43 and 44 both good. 42 is not my favorite. So let's work on this one. Let's work on 44. All right. Also, I like that tree in the back, and that was the other thing that drew me to this composition was having that tree kind of as a centerpiece, and you got the clouds a little bit above it. Pull this up a little bit. Actually, let's have that space. Yeah, just a whole. It felt like a good composition. It's got good lines. It takes you, it's got a good little journey to it. Okay, let's just start playing with stuff. Dehazing. Wow. Okay, there's a lot of cool color to bring out there. I don't hate that. I kind of do. I do kind of hate that. Uh, but I don't. But it's striking and cool. And I want to save texture for specifics. Clarity, I think the same. Dehaze. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna chop this photo up because everything else is pretty well balanced. It's a little bit bright in certain spots, but now this needs. Okay. All right. Here we go. We're gonna. This is gonna be the photo for creative masking today. All right. First couple are gonna be easy. Linear gradient to give me just to give me the sky. Actually, let me try select sky. Let me see if that works. Add select sky. Let me see if I can do that without and see if it'll duck around the tree for me. Because that would be nice. It does. Excellent. Okay, cool. Now we're going to do a duplicate and invert so I get everything else. And then we're going to do subtract from that with a linear gradient so that I can get basically just the land and get the top of the tree, which everybody wants. Good. Let's come down here. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm going to let this be a little tiny bit. Yeah, this actually should be about a pretty hard line now I'm looking at it. Something like that. Cool. All right, needs to be adjusted a little bit. Imperceptible change in that horizon. There we go. Something like that. I like that a lot. Okay, cool. Now we're going to, I could just do an invert, but I want to try something. I want to do this. I want to do color range. New mask for color. And I want the blues. Good. Let's extend this until it starts touching the boat. So right about there. Cool. Is that touching spots it shouldn't be? Yes, it is. Okay, let's pull that back. About to there. Still touching a few spots. It's still touching a few spots that it shouldn't, but we'll get to that. All right, now we're going to subtract with another linear gradient. We're going to get rid of everything above it because I don't want that stuff there. I want this to be a nice harsh line, just like that. Touch of rotation. Like that. Good. Okay, so that gets me the water, which is excellent. And now one more time, we're going to do a duplicate and invert. So now I get the boat. I'm going to subtract. Let's see, that linear gradient, we're going to turn that off. Does that get rid of, not get rid of much. Okay, we're going to get rid of it. We'll come back to that. We're going to subtract with a color range because I want to get rid of stuff out here. That's actually not doing what I wanted to do. Get rid of that. Okay. Let's see. That's going to be the whole photo. Can I make this a subtraction? Oh, there it is. Convert subtract. To start. Now I can adjust this. Color H1. Convert subtract. And then that one. Look, that didn't totally work the way I wanted it to. All right, new plan. Let's go with it. Let's just do some more specific subtracting. Let's start with the linear gradient. No, flip that around. There we go. Get rid of everything up in the sky. Mostly what I'm trying to do here is just I want to get just that much as I can, just the boat, maybe the little section in the foreground. That's actually not too bad, though. That might throw me off. I might have to do a duplicate. All right. Get this kind of up to there. Good. I'm gonna zoom in to 50. Yeah, it's enough to work with. Bring this down until it's just starting to touch the boat. So something like that. Cool. All right, and then we're going to subtract with a brush because that's where everything eventually ends up. Now we can do a much more specific job of cleaning this spot up. Clear out that water. Clear out this stuff here. Clearing out the water. I can get the edge of the boat here. Just increasingly closer passes. Excellent. Let's leave that one where it was. Let's get rid of this stuff out here. Good. Here, and just kind of get through some of these gaps. Try to get rid of that harsh line there. Let this be a little more, literally a little more fluid. Cleaning up the water. Though, if I don't get this exact, that's probably fine because most of what I'm going to be doing is texturing. And I'm always a big fan of adding texture to water. It's always very much a thing that I enjoy in terms of the look of a photo, especially a photo like this. I mean, in some ways, all of my photos are about connecting and about relationships, but a photo like this, where the the boat is the feature is the kind of star of the photo, but it's still the thing that I want you to look at and take away from it is kind of the layering and the connection between, of the sky and the tree and the fields and the water and the boat all together. So hopefully I can. So the point is, doesn't matter too much if there's a little bit of extra going on there. Let's clear out a couple of these spots down here just to give this a little more of a little more organic look and feel to it. Okay, I think we can work with that. Ooh, let's get the bottom corner. There we go. Cool. Okay, so now we've got our sections masked off. Let's start playing with them. Starting with our sky, we're going to turn these overlays on. I guess we can keep the overlays on because they're about to go away once we start adjusting. So I'm going to dehaze the sky because I want that color in it. Going to bring up the clarity, bring down the texture. Leave the texture where it is. That's pretty good. Okay, next, onto our tree. That one's not about clarity. There's some texture to it. Some nice highlights to it. I could dehaze it, but that pulls out something I don't really want to pull out. I do like the color though. So pulling down the blacks and dehazing a bit just to get a little bit of that color in there. Yeah, just a touch. I like a little bit of that. And I'm gonna do a new quick radial gradient here, just for my tree friend. So, hello tree. Bring the feathering down. Widen it out. Actually, let's keep it close like that. Okay, cool. And we're gonna invert this. In invert, we're going to subtract the sky, and we're going to subtract with a linear gradient and get rid of the water down here. There we go. This doesn't have to be exact, it's just, there we we go. Cool. So I can go back to my radial gradient and I can extend this. No, not you. You. Both you. Extend this and make a little more about the tree itself while not compromising the area around it. That linear gradient needs to move up. There we go. So something like that. And now, bring some highlights down. I can reduce the clarity, reduce the texture. Reduce the contrast, and I can reduce the saturation, and that's going to make that tree kind of our standout. Let's, we're going to add with a brush here. See overlay, and we're just going to brush in just lightly this area. Just kind of cover those gaps. Cool, let's come back to here. Okay, I think if I want to do color saturation, I got to do it from here. So let's leave that where, let's leave it like that. Clarity down a little more like that. Here's my brush. We're going to get this area out as well. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, come up with that. Then we'll come to here and we will desaturate a little. I think I might desaturate the whole thing, honestly. Let's leave that where it is and we'll desaturate the whole thing. All right, let's come down to our water. And this will bring up the texture. I dehaze it. We're going to get, yeah, it's going to get dark blue. Not sure I want to. Let's bring the contrast up. I think that's what I want, the way I want to go with it. Bring the blacks down. Let that, yeah, let it feel like it's paper. Feel like it's got some real good texture to it. And then the boat itself, which is going to be all about texture and clarity and all that clarity. Yeah, actually, all that clarity. Along with bringing up the shadows and get about a harshness to it. Highlights down, whites up a little bit. There we go. That's a start. It's a little confused, right? I think this one might need to be black and white in order to really get. Let's try that. Let's put it in black and white. Let's do a copy. So I'm working with the. Okay, now we can really start. Now we can really play with it. Okay, let's come down to our color. Where our blue's down, that gives them some energy. Let's see, do you want to go oranges? All right, let's see, what are reds doing? Reds are doing just kind of the edges of stuff, which is cool. I like them a little bit of reds. Oranges, get me the background and the boat pretty nicely. Yellows, same deal, slightly less. Okay. Which means I could do that. No, okay, it's different parts of the boat. Okay. But I can do that. Either way, you're still getting the boat in there. Yeah, we can bring that down a bit. Kind of like that. Let's see, greens. Next to non-existent. Let's leave them alone. Aquas. Aquas are the sky and the water. Okay, let's bring those down. Down with our blues. Cool. Purples. Little bits in the water, bits on the edges. Let's get rid of that. And then magenta. Got up in the tree there. Let's keep that up. What the heck? Okay. Now we'll come back to our masks, and we'll start adjusting them individually. Boat's good. Let's put with the water, which is here. Clarity up on that. Push a little more toward blue. Get a nice, yeah. Some nice contrast out of that. Let's look at this guy. That's why doing those differently really makes a difference. Because now that tree stands out even better. Yeah. Nope. Wrong slider. Leave the exposure alone. Contrast, guys. Contrast. To work on the edge of that. And then our sky. Some texture's good. Some highlighting. A bit of darkness. Yeah, it's a work in progress. Let's see if I went to this boat here. If I was to subtract, can I get rid of this section here? It's not really doing much. It's kind of my one bugbear on this one. Is that little tuft of wheat grass there, whatever that is. So, what am I looking for? Just make a quick adjustment to my notes here. Cool. All right. Yeah, I can be good. I can be happy with that for now. It's gonna get 2 stars. Oh, not with masking open, because for some reason when it's masking open, you hit 2, it immediately adjusts the flow. But yeah, there's our first view of a sunken boat. I think a lot of these are gonna have been black and white. There's a lot to them that I like. All right, let's do a sunset shot, or just after sunset shot. Do I need to adjust anything in my? Nah, I like my composition. I'm gonna come down a little bit, just the top and bottom match. I'm pretty happy with that. There we go. Some nice dark. Yep, this is one of the things I love about editing is you get to bring in a lot of that, a lot of more extreme. It's one of the reasons, by the way, if you're a photographer and you're uh, getting into editing, you should always be shooting raw, which is the setting in your camera. It is going to make your file sizes huge. You're going to go on a DSLR. You're going to go from about 3 to 4 megabytes per picture up to 25 megabytes per picture. Um, if you're shooting mirrorless, if you're shooting in with a newer mirrorless full frame camera, you're going to be out looking at like 50 megabytes a picture. But the like shooting raw gives you so much more information. You are getting benefits from that huge file size, and this is what it is that you can do stuff like this. And that photo looks phenomenal right now. I'm just gonna play with some color. Yeah, I'm gonna highlight the purples. The blues I kind of like. I kind of like how light the blues are. Blues have a nice light touch to them. The magentas, yeah, let's bring them up a little bit. I think I'm gonna push the magentas a little more toward purple because I like the kind of the yeah, I like that kind of little soft dance the two of them are doing. Reds, reds again up, and I'm gonna push them toward purple. So you get we can kind of enjoy those pinks. Uh, Oranges, I'm gonna leave alone. Yellows, kind of the same. Yellows, I'm actually gonna desaturate. And I'm gonna come down here. I'm gonna yellows are gonna stay on. Oranges I'm gonna bring up. Remember the oranges, just brighten them. Let them be a thing. That needs to be fixed. Let's get rid of that. Healing brush just to clear off this. Nice. Yeah, all right. Okay, that red is looking a little bit obnoxious down there. Let's go ahead and put that back. Yeah, red's kind of overdoing it. Um, push the oranges a little more toward yellow, a little more toward red. I can push them. Nah, then they're looking actually red. I don't like that. Let's push the oranges up a little bit though. Let them be. Actually, push them up a lot. Let's let them be a full color in the middle there. And yeah, we'll bring the yellows up so we get that nice, yeah, whiteness to it. Down to chromatic aberrations. Turn that on, and then keep the distortion kind of where it is. This is one of those ones where I kind of want to distort it wrong. If I throw the 14 mil on here, I can really adjust the distortions. That gives me a nice rounding thing. If I go all the way up, flattens it out. Kind of gives a little more depth to it. I kind of like that. Something I enjoy doing that I think is I don't see a lot of people do that I think is a cool idea is to apply the wrong lens correction to a shot because it's I mean it's a matter of warping the image and it does it in interesting ways and I'm a fan of that. All right, let's do a quick select sky just to clear out some of that noise. Nice. All right. Noise reduction. Excellent. Much better. Still have some of that texture. Still looks good. And then we're going to do a new mask, which will be linear. What's nice about this is I can just linear gradient this. I don't have trees in the way because I don't care about the tree because the tree reflections get to be whatever I want them to be. Kind of like that. And now I can crank the texture on the reflection. Could darken it. Kind of like not. Kind of like taking it like that. I like that a lot. Doing up the contrast a bit though. Get a little more of a harsher edge on it. There we go. Phenomenal. Okay. Boom. Picture done. Picture done. Rating set to 3. Love that one. Absolutely love that one. All right, let's do the bird photo that I've been kind of waiting to do. Look at this guy. Look how fucking cute he is. He's so fucking cute. I love him. Little woodpecker friend here who decided he was hanging out on this tree. It was a little further away from me. Um, and then decided to swing on over to the one close and did some posing. So, look how fucking cute this guy is. I call him Heinrich. Heinrich the woodpecker. Uh, now with the space there. There we go. Actually, a little bit, yeah. Go this far. Something there. I like that. Cool. All right. Let's start editing Heinrich. Yeah, texture on him is going to be good. Clarity on him, not as much. It's a weird thing. I love clarity in big landscapes with mountains and where I want to bring texture out. I like it a lot less when I'm doing photos of things or creatures or people. Let's try select subject and see what I get. That's pretty fucking spot on. Excellent. We're going to clear out the little spot there that thinks is part of it, and we'll clear out the spot down here. Excellent. Let's get that little niche in between his feathers. I guess this area over here too is technically not part of him. You fucking go, Heinrich. Is this also not part of him? He is not a blue jay. He does not have that plumage coming out the back of his head. Look at him. He's so perfect. I love him. Okay. We're going to do a duplicate and invert, which looks great. We're going to subtract with select subject because that seems to be helpful. We're going to bring our brush back up to the top there. Actually, a brush down here. And then I want a subtract brush on top of all of it so that I can just kind of clean out some of these little spots. Subtract brush. Let's get this off of his little tail feathers there. I'm not doing a whole lot with color on this one, so I'm probably okay just to. I want to keep his feet. Keep those good feet he's got, because that is interesting to me. The way in which he clings on. Same down here. Yeah, that's some feather. Keep that. All right, I think that works. So now we can start adjusting. We can take the texture down. That's not making a difference. I don't want to bring the clarity down too much. I did want to bring the contrast down. Bringing the clarity down too much, we'll get it. We'll kind of overdo it and kind of. I'll start losing things. Let's see, shadows. Let's see. Yeah, that works. That's a good soft background for our boy. And then we can work on him. We can bring up his texture. He is just so stinking cute. I absolutely love him. His clarity, I think, is good. The saturation on him to make him to really drive home the color that he has. Because you really don't. I don't know. When I think of woodpeckers, I don't think of them having a whole ton of color on them. I think of like uh I think of the black and the white and then the red on the back of the head, and I don't think too much about the blue that is clearly here. Where's that subtract brush? There's a couple spots I need to clean up now. Mostly here. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that little pop of color that shouldn't be there. Yeah, little spots. That's good. Okay, cool. Anything down here by his tail? There's other wing. Couple of spots can do with a little bit of touching up, but not too bad. Cool. All right, new mask. Brush. I'd like to zoom in 300%. Take my navigator back up here on his face, because we're gonna fix his eye. We're gonna make his eye pop nice and bright, even though it kind of already does. There we go. Highlights, whites, clarity. Let's do that. Dehaze. Wrong direction. That's gonna be too bright. There's something like that. Texture. Not really making a difference. Shadows we could bring up, but that's gonna get too bright anyway. So let's leave it as is. There we go. That's pretty cool. I want to try one more thing. I want to do a new mask on him. Another brush. Zoom in, please. And I want to try one that's his whole eye. I'm going to use one of these. I'm not going to use both. Let's turn that off. All right, so now we can do the same thing. Bring up the highlights, but now I also want to bring up the shadows. I want to bring up the color in design. I know this is going to make it like this always adds way too much always adds way too much, but it's kind of really interesting. I didn't know their eyes were red. Freaking little demon. That's the wrong direction. That's too red. Let's push it to green. Like that. So there we go. Now we got some detail in his eye, which helps make him look more interesting and more of a person. Now I can put that on top of it. I take that. Can I layer these? No, that's fine. Just gonna sort of do it that way. And that one I can now desaturate. Uh, yeah, which gives him a nice bright little eye there. Maybe too bright. Let's adjust a little bit. There's always little adjustments. Put the whites down. The whites down, bring the highlights down a bit. Let's do more of it over here. Highlights down. Now I need the highlights up. Whites down. There we go. There's a little guy ready to take on the world. Let's come down to some color adjustment. Uh, God, Heinrich is so cute. Bring the blues up a bit because I like that it gives us the blue in his feather in his colors. Let's bring up the reds because you got to bring up that patch of red in the back of him. Yellows are going to give me his feathers. Orange is going to give me a little more of the tree. I like both. A little bits like that. Green, where's green landing? Green is landing on him. That is really interesting. We're going to bring that up. We're going to push it a little more, a little toward yellow. Push it a little toward green, a little bit. Yeah, let's push it toward yellow. Actually, I don't know. Something about him having green on him is really interesting because you don't see that on. That's just not what you think of when you think of woodpeckers. That's awesome. Yeah, we'll take the purples down, the magentas. They can stay where they are. Let's work on colors. Work on luminance here. That can stay as is. Orange. Let's leave that alone. Sorry, does he have aqua on him too? He does. He's got a little bit of aqua on him. He is so pretty in a way I never imagined. I love this dude. I'm all about this fucking woodpecker right now. Yeah, blues. I think we're gonna leave the blues alone. The blues I'm pretty happy with. Though theoretically I need to bring them down to what? Aqua. What are you complaining about? Yeah, no, I'm not gonna apologize for that. I think it looks great. The purples. The thing I love about photo editing is that everything can have meaning if you give it to it. Yeah, we'll leave that alone. Cool. Now I could come back to this mask here and desaturate it and kind of just let him hold the screen. I don't think I want to. I think I want to let him have his world. But I want to make him stand out from a little more, and I'm gonna do it that way. I'm gonna bring the highlights down. That's how we're gonna do it. So now I can bring the saturation down just a Am I getting by pumping up the oranges? Really not much. Okay, so I can adjust that to the level I want it at. I can put it there. A little bit of orange. I want to find that exact right balance where it's present enough but not distracting. I think that's that. All right. Look at this fucking cute dude. He's perfect. I love him. All right. Set to 3. Let's see what other photos we've got. I got this one that was kind of interesting as a geometric shape. I'm not sure it's what I want to work on right now. There's our boat. There's our woodpecker. A couple of blinds. There's our kingfisher. Uh, no, I kind of want to do this tree. I think I'll end with this shot of this tree. Uh, because I've had a couple people who looked at it say it looks like a middle finger, and I kind of like that. Don't know why. Like, as I see it, I totally see it. So go with this one for now. do kind of need everything else in there, don't you? Okay. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. It'll bring up the color of the wood itself. This one should be black and white. Let's select the sky. There we go. Yeah, something like that. It's a starting point. We've got a bit of a haze around our tree there, and that can be fixed in a couple different ways. Mostly with the shadows. So I'm starting off like that. We're losing that original contrast, so I need to keep some of that in there. Yeah, something closer to that. Shadows down just a little bit. Yeah, something to work on. It's a work in progress. I'm gonna set that at 2. All right, so click here and kind of get our shots we worked on. Did some small edits just to kind of click through the photos from this day. Didn't take a whole lot. Like I said, the day was mostly about me hiking and just having the camera with me. But got some very cool. Find some very cool spots. I will definitely be coming back here. That was phenomenal. Definitely be coming back here to do more photo shoots in the future. So yeah, come back to me. So yeah, with that said, thank you for joining me for this little hour of photo editing. Um, I even though like yeah we only did a few photos, I think like I did have a chance to showcase a bunch of cool techniques, and so hopefully this was interesting. Hopefully it kept your interest, or maybe you learned something, or it got your thinking some way, because that would be great. Once again, I'm gonna advertise a little bit. Got postcards. They're on my website at twistedinnature.zenfoliosite.com. Instagram at Twisted in Nature, link in bio, or Etsy, Twisted in Nature Photography. So yeah, check them out. Get a hold of them. Send them, write people letters, or find someone you haven't, like I kind of want to put a rule that like you can only send these to people you've been meaning to talk to and haven't talked to yet, or haven't talked to in a while, like people you need to reestablish connection with, like the only what these are supposed to be used for. So it's all about so it's all about reconnecting and forging new pathways, either ones that have been, new paths and new relationships, either ones that have been kind of neglected and overgrown, or ones that are brand new and you're blazing new trails. So, but anyway, check them out. They got the QR codes on the back, so you can scan them and put them on the map. And yeah, keep tuning in, keep being part of the photography, keep creating awesome stuff. And yeah, until next time, stay safe, be well, make good art, and yeah, uh, happy holidays.